And we are rolling. I am in the dark. Now I'm in the light here. So, like I mentioned the other day, yesterday, I am traveling for work. So I am currently in a hotel in a very, very small town in Texas. And just watched the USA lose, which was very sad. But, my goal remains the same. To qualify for the USGA Mid-Am in 2027. So, got to get that handicap down to 2.4. I think this is what it takes for somebody who doesn't, only gets a minimum amount of time to practice. I have to take advantage when I can. And thankfully, this work trip had me driving, so I could throw my camera gear in. If I was flying, maybe I could fly with the mat, check the bag. But then it's like, am I taking my clubs? What am I doing? So, all that to say that we're practicing tonight. We're gonna get a little bit of practice in. I hit a few putts already to each of the cups, and the 5-foot cup here on the left side, my left, your right, breaks pretty heavily left to right. So I'll show you here. Wow. Maybe I was just pushing it. There you go. So there's like some ridges in this floor. The 8-foot putts and the 3-foot putts seem to be pretty straight. So I'm going to practice some 3-footers here first, then go to the 8-footers. But still just working on kind of throwing my hands toward the cup like I have been doing. That one had too much pace, but I was more focused on sending my hands to the hole. Now, if I can hit 3-footers and keep knocking the ball, replacing it like it's curling, just like that, then I know we are getting dialed. Just like that. Good putts. Yeah, it was disappointing to see the US lose, but it's not like this is new to us, unfortunately. I say us like I'm on the team, but as an American citizen, I do enjoy rooting for the US team, especially soccer, just because we are underdogs, so it makes it that much more fun. But just making it to the round of 32 is pretty cool. So with these 3-footers, like I said, I'm trying to just throw my hands at the hole, but I'm also working on tempo, making a putt that, or having a tempo that I can repeat out on the golf course under pressure. That's some good putts. I am liking this. But yeah, like, you know, plenty of people talk about building a golf swing or a putting stroke or a chipping motion that you can perform under pressure. But I remember reading that, I want to say in Ben Hogan's book, the 5 Fundamentals. That's where I feel like I first heard it. Now, this 8-foot putt, normally when I take it back, there is this, I think I pointed out, there are grid lines on each one of these different length putts to kind of measure your backswing on how far you should take it back. So it's like measured out for the putt length. And for this one, I think the floor here is sloped a little bit. So we're going to pretend like this is an uphill putt. And just hit it a little harder. But hit that one square. Yeah, I am loving this feeling I discovered of just rolling my hands toward the hole. Not manipulating my wrist, but I'm just kind of demonstrating kind of the feeling it is for me. But it's keeping the face nice and square and getting me out of my own head. And then I have a trigger in my putting motion. I had seen Phil Mickelson do it. There's plenty of players who do it, but it's just kind of a subtle, I'll show it a little closer, just a subtle kind of bump with my hands forward, just to kind of get the motion started. That seems to help me. Nothing exaggerated like pushing it that forward, but just a little trigger to kind of get myself going. I have the same thing with my full swing. My trigger is, I just kind of sit into my left side. So you've probably seen it if you've watched other videos of my full swing, but at address, I just kind of little slight bump into my hip. So I do the same thing with putting, and I like it. But yeah, one other thing about like the videos. So like my goal is to post like realistically 6 times a week, or 5, because right now I'm not filming my golf rounds, but I'm naming the videos like just sequentially. So even if I skip a day or 2, you know, if this next video is day 16, let's say I go 2 days without filming, the next video would still be day 17. And the reason that I'm doing that is, number one, to make it easier and cleaner to kind of watch. Oh, I hit that way too hard. But also just for myself, so that when, you know, a year from now, I can look back and say, okay, you know, I started posting on June 20th or something, and it's June 20th, 2027, and I'm on day, you know, 320. And then I'll know that I've, out of the 365 days in the past year, I have practiced 320 of those days. And then some, I'm kind of not really paying attention here because I'm talking, I'm trying to communicate. But yeah, that's just kind of for me. And like a lot of those like quote unquote missed days are me playing golf, at least one of them once a week. But I can do the math and like figure out like, okay, how many practice sessions did I do? And then the other thing too is like, I'll be evaluating myself like once a month in terms of my game, like scoring. That was a good stroke. Just a little push, but that's fine. But yeah, I'll probably evaluate my game like every month and just see like how my scores are doing based on what kind of practice I'm also doing. So that's going to be a way for me to kind of evaluate my progress in a more methodical manner and not just be like practicing absent-mindedly, which, you know, even if I was practicing absent-mindedly, like the fact that I'm out here doing it would make me better, I would hope. But really going to try and build some analytics and honestly probably use a little bit of AI to help look at the data and say, okay, you know, in this month I practiced short game 8 days, I practiced putting 12 days, full swing this many days, and you know, my handicap is dropped half a stroke or whatever. I mean, in reality, like, you know, chipping and putting, I could just do that and just become an excellent chipper and putter, and I'd probably go from like a 5 to like, who knows, like maybe a 1 or a 2. That was a good one. So, but again, the goal is scratch or better. That is the goal. I mean, really, I'm just going to put this out there. Like, really, I think I could get to like a +3 or a +4. But baby steps. I think it also helps that I'm like, so the whole reason I'm doing this is accountability. Like I could have done this work trip, not packed anything, you know, had my dinner and come back here and just, you know, watch YouTube videos or play chess or whatever, watch a movie and not do anything to get better. But, you know, I want to see how good I can get, and to do that, I've got to practice as much as I possibly can. So I'm trying to take advantage of every opportunity. Because honestly, like, you know, I've golf has been my passion since I was like 12 years old. But I've mentioned this before, I never really put in the time, I think, that it takes to actually improve. So I'm not getting any younger. Nobody's going to hand it to me. Nobody's going to do it for me. That's the beautiful thing about golf too, and a lot of different hobbies is like, you know, once I have it, like it's something that nobody can take away from me. And it's something that I can be proud of, you know. There's plenty of things in life to be proud of. You know, if you're a good son or daughter, brother, sister, husband, wife, like you name it, just like parent, go down the list. There's plenty of things to be proud of. But this has always just been nagging at me, like, how good could you get? Because, like, you know, my golf swing, at this point, I mean, it's getting to be more function, but I joke that it's all form, no function. Like, it looks pretty decent. It looks good, you know, for an amateur. And actually, this is kind of a funny story. So I played in a member guest years ago with a guy I used to work with. He and I were friends. Still friends, we just don't really talk much anymore, but this was probably, I don't know, 8-10 years ago. And he invited me to his member guest as his guest. And there was a Calcutta bet where I'm probably going to butcher the explanation, but the simple explanation of it is all the teams have a dinner like the night before the tournament starts. It's a weekend thing. So the dinner happens, people are having a good time, having some cocktails and food, and then bets are taken at this dinner. And I think we had all played a practice round that day before. And so people got to look at like some of the teams that were playing. And there was this older gentleman who had quite a bit of money who, that was a good aggressive stroke, we had played with him. I don't remember like how long we played with him, if it was a few holes, if it was a whole round. You know, I didn't necessarily shoot a great score, but he saw my golf swing and he was like, oh my God, this kid's gonna be, you know, he's gonna do so well in, you know, whatever flight we were in. And he made a big bet, and you can basically bid against other people to like win a team. So he was betting, you know, it's like first bid $100. He throws his hand up. 150. Somebody else throws his hand up. It got like out of control to the point where I don't remember the exact number, but it was like $1,300 on me and my friend for our team to like win our flight or whatever it was. And I was in shock. I was just like, what is this guy thinking? Like, I don't know what my handicap was at the time. It was probably somewhere in the single digits. I don't remember. But, you know, same as today, where I get over the ball, I don't know where the ball's going. Anyhow, long story short, we did not win, and this old guy contributed $1,300 to a pot that he did not win any part of. I don't know what the prizes ended up being, but it's all the prizes were made up of all the bets. So, you can imagine what some of the winning bets took home. A few $1,000, maybe 8 to 10, who knows? But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think back to that, and I was just like, man, I really wish I could have stepped out there and just played so well. Not for him, but for me. Like, I want to be able to go out there and perform. I want to go out there and compete and win, honestly. But it's hard to do that when you don't know where the ball's going. And if I do the work, at least that gives me a chance to get to a point where I'm like, I know I put the work in. Now it's time to just execute. And so these are some of the things I'm thinking about, because it's an amateur golf tournament, but these are some of the best players in the world when it comes to like adult amateurs. Like, not talking about the US Junior Am or the US Amateur, where you got guys that are young up and comers who are going to go play in college, who want to play on the tour. Like, that's a whole different thing. But you got guys that like played professionally that are playing in this mid-am. Like the guy who won this past year, I forget his name. I think it was like Brandon Holtz. I think that's it. I'm pretty positive he played professionally at one point. And then like after a certain amount of time, you can apply to get your amateur status reinstated. But like the tournament's no joke. And like, if I qualify and I play in the mid-am, like, I'm going to want to go into it feeling like, yeah, I can win this thing. So anyhow, that is why we are practicing in a hotel on a weeknight on a work trip. There we go. Really focused on that one. That one went in. Let me just see how far along we are. 23 minutes. Do a few more 3-footers. And then maybe some more 8-footers, and then maybe call it a night. Let me get focused up over here over this 3-footer. So that first putt I took here, I was very tense. So I made a conscious decision to keep my arms more loose. They're all going in. They can go in different ways. They don't all have to be perfect. But at some point, I'll start doing some more serious, like, pressure putting. Obviously out on the golf course is pressure putting, but like trying to practice pressure putting. Let's see if I can do some right-handed putts. Go back to the 3-footer. Maybe I'll just go back and forth here. Switch up the putt length. That was a good one. I think that was going in. If it didn't hit the ball, that was right in front of the hole. Good stroke. Really rocking my shoulders here. All right, 8-footer, then 3-footer, alternate. I mean, that ran by, but that was in. That's the most important thing, hitting it square. Ooh, just short. Well, I made all of those, so that's good. But yeah, I was in the car for 4 hours after work, so I think 30 minutes of putting practice is a big win. I would love to be able to get to a place where I'm like rocking my shoulders to try and take my hands out of the hit. That's sort of what I try to do there, but I tend to hit it short when I do that. It's better. Maybe some combination of that. Of the shoulders, and then kind of just move my hands toward the hole. Feels good. I was so desperate to be a better putter earlier this year. I was doing the heads up putting method, which is basically where you look at the hole instead of the ball. I kind of moved away from that because it was a little too, I don't know, I just couldn't do it. But gives you an idea of what was going on in my brain. But these feel good. These feel like I'm rocking my shoulders. Big muscles are kind of the main driver, but I'm not forgetting about my hands. I think that's the thing, is like I would get into this robotic thing where my hands are completely dead, but in reality it's like the shoulders drive it, but it's like the golf swing, it's like cracking a whip. This is my theory, I don't know, I just came up with it. But with the golf swing, you know, it's like you're kind of, all the energy is released at the bottom like a whip. Gotta think putting is the same, where I'm kind of rocking my shoulders and then letting the energy kind of just go into my putter head, and that's kind of the hands moving toward the hole. Can't forget about the hands, not in golf. They're very important. I like that feel. Sometimes I forget about feels, and the nice thing about posting all this stuff is I can watch it back and remind myself of the feels. Okay, did pretty good, quote unquote, making a lot of these putts, but I'm gonna call it there. These hotels have horrible lighting. I'm like completely in the dark. Let me put it up here. All right, appreciate you watching. Goal tomorrow is I would love to be able to get some full swing in. So we'll see what time I get home, but yeah, appreciate y'all watching. Take care.